Today I'm going to be doing some rapid reviews that aren't actually going to be that short on some books that I don't feel like I have a lot to say on or enough to say on to make it its own video. The first book is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I hate this book. This is a very famous, well-known book you've probably heard of about a father and son walking across post-apocalyptic America. It's supposed to be really disturbing and violent, and normally I'm really sensitive to that kind of stuff, but I just didn't care. It's also written in this really fun way where there's no punctuation or sentence structure and the dialogue is just part of the stream of consciousness thing. It is written in the most unnecessary and convoluted way with similes and metaphors that don't even make sense. Like, why is the dark autistic? Why is the sky like a glaucoma? Am I missing something? If you want to die, drink every time you see the word gray. Won a Pulitzer. But that's none of my business. The second one is The Absent One by UC Adler Olsen. This is the second book in the Department Q series, and I read the first one last year and just thought it was like a really solid, engaging mystery novel, but I have a lot more mixed feelings about this one. The series is about a police detective living in Copenhagen named Carl, who's the head of Department Q, which works on high-profile cold cases. It is translated fiction, so there are some really interesting things in there. One of the most noticeable things was class. They will talk about, like, this is the beer of the proletariat, this is the beer of the bourgeoisie. So there's a lot of, like, socialist language because it is a social democratic country, which makes sense, but it's just interesting because the Anglo narrative is a lot more like upper middle, lower class. This book had a weird gendered aspect though. I didn't really notice it in the first book, but in this one, the case that they were working on was specific gendered violence. Then I started to realize that all the female characters in the book were either victims, they were people that Carl was interested in sexually and he kind of objectified, or there were other women that he worked with that reminded him of drippy feminists on sitcoms, or he didn't like them because they were actively trying to keep him away from the women that he was trying to pursue. So the women that he has to work with that he doesn't like, he just finds them like really inconvenient and dumb. There's no women in positions of authority except for the police chief, like the actual head of the whole everything. But she's only ever referenced, she has no actual presence in the entire story. So then you have to question, is the author just portraying what is, like what is happening, or is he just not giving women positions of agency? So even if his line of thinking isn't in line with Carl's and he is at a much higher stage of understanding women as people, I just still think he could have done a better job with the female characters that he did have, because even the two victims that he had definitely had like different layers. I'm not gonna say they were complex, but there was some depth there. I just feel like they could have been portrayed a lot better and they would have made the story better. I don't really care anymore. Carl's just kind of a boy and like, I'm over it. I'm over the series. And lastly, we had one that I actually did like, which was Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Normally I don't read celebrity memoir type things, but it's Amy Poehler and I love Parks and Rec. The first thing that I liked is the book itself as an object. Like, this is so beautiful and matte. On the inside, there's lots of pictures like this. Look at her author picture. I just love it. It's beautiful. I loved when she talked about her career, when she started out with improv and SNL and Parks and Rec, obviously, and reading about her friendship with Seth Meyers was just, so cute. She also had a lot of self-awareness in writing the book and saying some really cool stuff about feminism. I also loved her preface called Writing is Hard. I thought it was really well written and I was like, yes, Amy. Yes. The only thing that I didn't like about this book and kind of bugged me was she had a whole chapter on like self-hate demons and all the little things that nag you and tell you to hate yourself, and that kind of voice in your head that says you're not good enough, you don't look good enough, all that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was like a really good, strong chapter. And then immediately right after that, she has haikus about women who have Botox, which was really weird. She had this whole chapter on like self-hate and moving towards self-love, and then she was like, let's shit on people who made a choice with their body, because it wasn't addressing like the context or the reason why women feel like they need to get Botox. It was just like women who choose to get Botox look scary. And if she was trying to say like, look, you don't need Botox because like you're fine, we should all just accept ourselves, like that's a fine message to have, just do it a different way. Like, you just talked about how there's like a little voice inside your head criticizing you for everything, and then she was like, I'm gonna criticize these people who made that choice, and it's like, that was unnecessary. But other than that, good book.